I like being in opportunities that do not have to be the ultimate fulfillment of what it could be in order for me to still have enjoyed it. But they do have the potential upside to be the unlimited potential if it ends up working out. Does that make sense? So like, for instance, if you're doing like garage sale stuff and you're flipping stuff at garage sales, unless you're going to build a massive company and organization with teams of people getting garage, like it's just not going to be something that has this unlimited upside potential. It's great for side hustling. You can flip some couches, make a couple $1,000 a month, and like, it's gonna be pretty good. But the thing that I love about doing a podcast is that even if it never becomes a 7-figure or 8-figure thing by itself, it still makes sense for me to take my time to do it because the relationships I get from it are incredible. The knowledge that I get from it is insane. It's like a perfect personal development accountability partner because it's always forcing me to continue learning and growing and questioning my own opinions. Like there's something about throwing your opinions out online that makes you really have to at least feel some sort of confident or strongly about this particular perspective because you're throwing it out there and there could be a bunch of people who are looking at it and going like, this guy's an idiot. You know what I mean? And so
and
like
your reputation is
you just got to know why, like you just have to you're forced to study more. You're forced to research more. You're forced to learn more. At least I am anyway, because I feel I owe it to my audience. If I have influence, I owe it to them to provide the best possible information that I can provide. So if I'm talking about something that I know nothing about, I will research it more before I talk about it, or I'll bring on somebody on who knows more about it and ask them questions about it. You know what I mean? I feel like I owe that to my audience. So it's a perfect accountability partner because it forces me to continue learning and growing. So my point is like, I'll do the podcast for all of those reasons, but it's awesome that if I continue doing it and it keeps going well and we keep investing into it and things like that, that it could also be a 7 or 8-figure brand by itself. You know what I mean? That's the stuff that I like, is like the stuff that's still worth it. It makes money now, but it does have the potential for unlimited upside.
That's right.
Because the unlimited upside in this case too is not just sponsorship revenue. If your show gets big enough to be making $100,000, $200,000, $300,000 a month in sponsorship revenue, then you have a good brand that's being built off of the back of that. And as we've seen with The Rock with Terramana Tequila, or Ryan Reynolds with Aviation Gin, or Ryan Reynolds with Mint Mobile, or George Clooney with Casamigos, or any of these other celebrities that are creating these brands that they're building and selling for more than all the money that they've ever made in their career combined. You know what I mean? That's built off of the back of their brand. And obviously, if I'm a podcaster that's making a couple $100,000 a month, I'm nowhere near as famous as The Rock, who has 320 million followers on Instagram or whatever it is now. I'm nowhere near that famous, but I don't have to be. My tequila, like if I started a tequila brand, whatever, with 200,000 listeners of my show, it's like it's not gonna be a deca-billion-dollar company like Terramana probably is going to be, but will it have some sort of immediate success just based on the fact that I have immediate distribution with an audience of people who know, like, and trust me already? Yeah, it will have some immediate short-term success. That way it's like, then it's on me. If I build a crappy product, then they probably won't order it again. If I build a good product and get it in their hands once, they'll probably keep ordering it because they already know me, they like me, and they trust me. You know what I mean? It's just, it's a matter of scale at that point. So it's not even just the direct success that the show would bring in terms of monetary value on itself, the sponsorships, affiliates or whatever else. It's also the brand that's built behind the show that becomes a distribution engine to allow me to start whatever company I want to start that's at least in some way congruent with the audience that I've built off the back of the brand.
Yeah.
You know what I
say
mean?
Like 200,000 people turns into 2 million people quickly because all those people are telling their friends. Like if it is a great product and the foundation is built on Travis Chappell, like the human being, like we like Travis, we trust Travis, his product is great.
Yeah. Well, I'll give you a great example. Do you know Pat Flynn?
Yeah.
Yeah. So Pat's got a great show called Smart Passive Income. He's been blogging since like 2007 or something. And then podcasting since like 2010, 2011, one of the kind of pioneer type of a guy. He's over 100 million downloads on his show at this point. Probably more than that now. That was a few months ago. But anyway, he makes several $1 million a year from his online brands and businesses. He's got lots of blog traffic, a good podcast listener base. He's got, 250,000+ subs on YouTube. I love the way that he does business because he's very much this way. And a couple of years ago, he came out with this product because he was getting into the YouTube space. So like he first crushed blogs and then he focused on podcasting. And then a couple of years ago, he's transitioning to YouTube. And he noticed that everybody's walking around with these Gorilla Pods, the big clunky, adjustable tripods that you can like form around something or you set it down.
Take like 50 minutes to learn if you've never picked one up before.
Yeah, but and a lot of people, and for their main purpose, they were really good. But what Pat noticed was that there was a lot of vloggers who were just using them, like bunching up the legs together like that, and then like curving it a little bit and using it as like almost like a DSLR selfie stick tripod. But then when you go to set it down, the legs are all forming. So you got to move it out and then it's not level. And there's just a lot of problems with it. It's bulky in your hand. So Pat goes out and decides to come up with this physical product. He'd never made a physical product before. Everything that he'd done was digital: courses, coaching, a couple software tools that he had built. Everything he'd done was digital info products stuff, based. So he goes out and builds what he called the Switch Pod. And it was a tripod that was made for vloggers to do selfies with the DSLR on the top of it. So you can bunch the legs together, and then with a flick, you flip them all out, and now you got a tripod, and it sits down, and then it's really easy to collect them, hold it, and it feels better. It's lighter weight. It's easier to maneuver. It was a great product that he built. They launched a Kickstarter campaign to fund the first initial order because they came up with the prototypes, but then the prototypes are costing way too much money because obviously they didn't build the mold in the manufacturing plant. So this was like to get their first initial order of brand new product shipped in. And they were like, we need $100,000 through this Kickstarter campaign in the next 30 days. They did $100,000 in 24 hours. And over the course of the Kickstarter campaign, they reached almost $500,000 in pre-orders for a product that a lot of the people ordering didn't even need. I was like, bro, how many people do you think ordered this that didn't need the tripod? He was like, I don't know the answer to that. Probably a good amount because I had people reach out and telling me that they ordered multiple tripods just to support me and the launch. And it was like, again, it's a scale thing. The Rock has Terramana, and that's a deca-billion-dollar company. But here's a independent content creator with a couple 100,000 people who listen to his show or follow him on YouTube or on his email list or read his blog or whatever. But he's built such a great relationship with them over time that there's people that they don't have any use or need for the product. And they bought 4 of them and spent $800 during his launch just to be like, hey, thank you for all the value that you've given to me over the years. Let me help you and support this thing for you. You see the same thing with Gary Vee. That's why every book Gary Vee launched, like Gary Vee has written more books than he's read, admittedly, by his own words, all of them are New York Times bestsellers because all he does is add value to his audience all day, every day. And then like 3 times a year, he has a big ask, like lately it's been VeeFriends or VeeCon or whatever. But before it was like, hey, I got a book coming out. And then all of a sudden you have people who he's never even talked to, but they've consumed hours of his content that are buying bulk orders of 1,000 books and spending $34,000 just to support and add value to a guy who's been taking time to add value to them because he built the audience, the distribution engine. So these examples exist across like multiple regards. Obviously, you look at Joe Rogan with On It. You look like there's just so many examples now of people that are taking their personal brands and not monetizing directly with sponsorships and affiliate deals and traditional ways of monetizing a brand. They're taking that and they're using that as the distribution engine to start something has the ability to scale beyond their ability to scale that thing. So even Logan Paul and KSI started Prime,
That's right.
Not energy drinks, just like sports drinks.
Yeah.
Let's compete with Gatorade. They had $250 million their first year. $250 million.
The official drink of the UFC, right?
Of the UFC, yep. They've made deals with, there was another big one too that I saw recently. I forget what it was, but they made another deal recently
where
they
became
WWE
in some facet.
It's got to be. If it's not, it's got to be on the table. Well, I think, didn't UFC and WWE just come to a big deal?
Endeavor owns both companies.
Endeavor owns both of them, yeah. Endeavor's massive.
That's like over $40 billion.
Yeah, Endeavor's wild, that what they did, what they were able to do with William Morris and merging those companies, going public, and now acquiring UFC and WWE. Like they're a massive entertainment.
Those are 2 huge global juggernauts.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And 2 completely different ends of the spectrum, right?
Yeah.
But look at Dana White and look at Vince McMahon, just two crazy SOBs who figured it out on two totally ends of the spectrum, and now Endeavor's got both of them.
Yep.
Which is absurd.
But yeah, all that to say that's why I like, that's why I like podcasting, because it's just there is potential for an outsized return if you keep doing it. And even if that outsized return doesn't come, I am A-okay with like the mid-sized return that I'm getting right now.